So when I was a child, my father drove an 18-wheeler for a living, staying gone 3 to 5 nights a week. When I was approximately 13 years old, it was just me and my mother at home one night, and I heard this shattering of glass and this terrifying scream come from my mom. Someone had broken the living room window, apparently trying to get into the home. So what I did was I got my mother to get her .32 revolver and let me stand there as she opened the curtains in front of this window, and there was a strange man standing outside staring down the barrel of this .32. Needless to say, he took off running. I tell you this story because I believe 24 years later that me holding that pistol at night saved me and my mom from harm or death. Now on December 14, 2012, 20-year-old Adam Lanza walked into Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, murdering 20 children and 6 adults. He also took the life of his own mother and took his own life afterwards. And according to Susan Candiotti and Sarah Arthur of CNN News, this is the second deadliest school shooting in the United States history, only behind the 2007 Virginia Tech shootings. As I was researching the topic of gun control, I came across an article by HTEB News Desk that quoted President Barack Obama saying the vast majority of gun owners in America are responsible. So why all the hype on gun control? According to an article submitted to Fox News by the Associated Press, the President has already called on Congress to reinstate a ban on military assault weapons, close loopholes that allow gun buyers to kind of skirt around background checks, and to place a ban on high-capacity magazines. Video games and Hollywood movies are also being blamed for a lot of the violence in America today. I'm here to defend your right to the Second Amendment. My whole argument is based on this one statement. If we, the American citizens, allow the United States government to take away our right to bear arms, we are placing our own freedom at risk because we are opening up the possibility of falling out of democracy and into a dictatorship. Now allow me to give you a little bit of a history lesson. On December 15th of 1791, the American citizens started being protected by a constitutional right called the Second Amendment. Now when James Madison wrote this, he had two things in mind. He stated that a well-regulated, meaning a well-trained and well-armed militia, is necessary to the security of a free state. And he also says that the individual citizen has the right to bear arms to protect themselves from tyranny, crime, and invasion. Now why is this still so important? Well, because our forefathers and our ancestors sailed to this country in search of freedom. Freedom from oppression, freedom from dictatorship. And the Second Amendment guarantees that we will always have this freedom. It guarantees that our rights will never be infringed upon by the government. Now allow me to mention the Sandy Hook shootings one more time. It was also the second deadliest mass murder at an elementary school on U.S. soil since the 1927 Bath School bombings in Michigan. I can understand all the hype about gun control to an extent. Now ask yourselves this question. Would placing a nationwide ban on guns really do any good? If the United States government places a nationwide ban on guns, do you really think that's going to stop a criminal from obtaining or possessing a firearm? All we would really be doing was giving a would-be robber a better advantage because they have the gun and we have no way of protecting ourselves. Look at the Prohibition era. The Volstead Act prohibited the sale, manufacture, and transport of alcohol from 1920 to 1933. Now at first it seemed to work because the alcohol consumption dropped by half and arrests for drunkenness cut down while the price of alcohol rose higher than what the average working man could have paid for it. And enforcing prohibition became extremely difficult because the demand for alcohol was outweighing and outwinning the demand for sobriety. This also led to a big rise and forming of organized crime in this country. It led to a contemptuous disregard for the law, and it also kind of brought on the American Mafia as we know it today. In 1925 in New York City alone, there were anywhere from 30,000 to 100,000 speakeasies, and a speakeasy was nightclubs that sold alcohol illegally. It also generated an enormous amount of corruption among politicians and within police forces. Prohibition really, all in all, just made life in America more violent. And eventually the 21st Amendment, also known as the Blaine Act, repealed the 18th Amendment, the Volstead Act. So people, what can we learn from Prohibition experiment here? Well, mainly this. Even if there were a law passed placing a nationwide ban on firearms, would it stop people from still obtaining firearms illegally? Our own freedom is at risk here. Now, I truly love the fact that we live in a country where we feel comfortable that our government will not try to take us over. However, history is littered with stories of nations of unarmed citizens being overtaken by dictators. Look at Nazi Germany. Hitler's rise to power was actually one of the direct results of gun control laws. Now here you see an old photo of me inside of a jail cell. For obvious reasons, I do not own a firearm. However, I wish I had done things differently when I was younger because I have a fiance with 3 children now. Do you not think I would break the law if it meant protecting them? Surely I would. Now isn't that what we all really want? We want the best for our loved ones. We want our loved ones to feel safe, and I believe that only the government or only the criminals having the firearms, I believe that takes a lot of that safety net away from us. People, we all have rights, and the choice to stand and protect your rights. This is where you come in. I'm asking you to stand up for these rights, to stand up for your own freedom. The choice is yours. You have the right to protect yourselves and your families. Your own freedom and that, you have the right to protect yourself from tyranny, invasion, and crime. Like I said, the choice is yours. Some people choose to shut their mouth and not say nothing. Don't do that. Please, please vote to hang on to our rights.